G'day folks, Dr. Ethan Walker here. Look, I've been a urologist for over 35 years, and I've got to tell you something that'll probably surprise you. Last week, a 6-8-year-old bloke came into my clinic absolutely exhausted. He told me he was getting up 5, sometimes 6 times a night to use the dunny. His wife was fed up, he was knackered all day, and he'd tried everything his GP suggested. When I asked him what he had for brekkie, he said, "Oh, just toast and Vegemite, doc. Sometimes a bit of bacon." And that's when it clicked for me. You see, I've spent the better part of 3 decades working with men just like you, dealing with prostate issues, and I can tell you right now that what you eat for breakfast can make an absolute world of difference to your prostate health. I'm not talking about some fancy superfood from the Amazon rainforest that costs a fortune. I'm talking about simple, everyday foods you can grab from Woolies or Kohl's on your next shop. Now, before we dive in, let me be straight with you. This isn't a magic cure. If you've got serious prostate problems, you need to see your doctor. But what I'm about to share with you has helped thousands of my patients reduce their symptoms, sleep better at night, and feel more like themselves again. And it all starts with that first meal of the day. Right, let's get into it. The breakfast I'm about to describe isn't just some random collection of foods. Every single ingredient has been chosen because of solid scientific research showing its benefits for prostate health. And the best part? You can whip this up in about 5 minutes flat. First up, we're talking about rolled oats. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oats? That's it? But hang on a sec. Oats aren't just any old breakfast food. They're absolutely packed with something called beta-glucan, which is a type of soluble fiber that does wonders for your prostate. Beta-glucan helps reduce inflammation throughout your body, and inflammation is one of the main culprits behind an enlarged prostate. Studies from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition have shown that men who eat oats regularly have significantly lower levels of inflammation markers in their blood. But here's what makes oats really special for us blokes. They contain compounds called avenanthramides, which are powerful antioxidants found almost exclusively in oats. These little beauties help reduce oxidative stress in your prostate tissue. Think of oxidative stress like rust on a car. Just like rust slowly damages metal, oxidative stress damages your cells over time. The antioxidants in oats help prevent that damage. Now, how much oats should you have? I recommend about half a cup of rolled oats, cooked up with water or milk. Don't go for those instant oats in the little packets. They're often loaded with sugar and they've been processed so much that they've lost a lot of their nutritional punch. Stick with good old-fashioned rolled oats. You can even soak them overnight if you're into that overnight oats thing everyone's raving about these days. Right, next ingredient, flax seeds, or linseeds as some folks call them. These tiny brown seeds are absolute powerhouses when it comes to prostate health. I've been recommending flax seeds to my patients for years, and the results have been genuinely impressive. Flax seeds are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, particularly alpha-linolenic acid or ALA. Now, why does this matter for your prostate? Well, omega-3 seconds are incredibly anti-inflammatory. An enlarged prostate is often accompanied by chronic inflammation, and omega-3 seconds help knock that inflammation right back down. But there's more. Flax seeds also contain something called lignans, which are plant compounds that have been shown to potentially slow the growth of prostate cells. Research published in the Journal of Urology found that men with prostate issues who consumed 30 grams of flax seeds daily showed significant improvements in their urinary symptoms. Here's the trick with flax seeds though. You need to grind them up. If you eat them whole, they'll just pass right through your digestive system without releasing all those beneficial compounds. I keep a small coffee grinder in my kitchen just for flax seeds. Grind up a tablespoon or 2 and sprinkle them straight onto your oats. You can barely taste them, but your prostate will thank you. Now, someone asked in the comments if flaxseed oil works just as well. Good question. Flaxseed oil does give you the omega-3 seconds, but it doesn't contain the lignans or the fiber that whole flax seeds provide. So if you're asking me, I'd say go for the ground seeds. But if you've only got the oil on hand, that's still better than nothing. Just don't heat it up. Use it cold, drizzled over your finished breakfast. All right, let's talk about berries. Now, we're lucky here in Australia because we can get some bloody fantastic berries. I'm talking about blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. Forget about those exotic acai berries or goji berries that cost an arm and a leg. Local Aussie berries work just as well, and they're fresher too. Berries are absolutely loaded with antioxidants, particularly something called anthocyanins. These are the compounds that give berries their deep red and purple colors. Anthocyanins are like little soldiers that go around your body fighting off free radicals. Free radicals are unstable molecules that can damage your cells and contribute to prostate enlargement and even prostate cancer. A study from Harvard Medical School followed thousands of men and found that those who ate berries regularly had a significantly lower risk of developing prostate problems. The researchers reckon it's because of the high levels of vitamin C and anthocyanins in berries. These compounds help maintain the health of blood vessels, including the tiny blood vessels in your prostate, which improves overall prostate function. How many berries should you have? Chuck about half a cup of mixed berries onto your oats. Fresh is great when they're in season, but frozen berries work brilliantly too. In fact, frozen berries are often picked and frozen at peak ripeness, so they can actually be more nutritious than fresh berries that have been sitting in a shop for days. Just thaw them out or toss them on frozen. Either way works. Now here's something that might surprise you. Broccoli for breakfast. I can see you pulling a face already, but hear me out. Broccoli contains a compound called sulforaphane, which has been shown in multiple studies to have powerful anti-cancer properties. Research from the Oregon State University found that sulforaphane can actually help slow the growth of prostate cancer cells and may even trigger cancer cells to self-destruct through a process called apoptosis. But even if you don't have cancer, sulforaphane is still incredibly beneficial. It helps reduce inflammation and oxidative stress in the prostate. The trick is how you prepare it. Raw or lightly steamed broccoli has the highest levels of sulforaphane. If you boil it to death like our mums used to do, you'll destroy most of the beneficial compounds. So how do you work broccoli into breakfast? It's easier than you think. While your oats are cooking, take a handful of broccoli florets and steam them for about 3 minutes. Then chop them up finely and mix them into a veggie omelet or scrambled eggs on the side. Or if you're really not keen on broccoli in the morning, you can have it at lunch instead and add something else to your brekkie. The key is getting it in your diet daily. Another ripper ingredient is pumpkin seeds. These are called pepitas in some shops. Pumpkin seeds are absolutely brilliant for prostate health. They're rich in zinc, and zinc is crucial for maintaining a healthy prostate. In fact, the prostate contains more zinc than any other organ in the body. When zinc levels drop, the prostate can start to enlarge. Studies have shown that men with enlarged prostates often have lower levels of zinc in their prostate tissue compared to men with healthy prostates. By eating pumpkin seeds regularly, you're helping maintain optimal zinc levels. Just a couple of tablespoons of pumpkin seeds contains about 20% of your daily zinc requirements. But that's not all. Pumpkin seeds also contain compounds called phytosterols, which have been shown to reduce the symptoms of an enlarged prostate. A systematic review published in the British Journal of Urology found that men who took pumpkin seed extract experienced significant improvements in urinary flow and reduction in nighttime bathroom trips. You can toast your pumpkin seeds in a dry pan for a few minutes to bring out their flavor, then sprinkle them over your oats, or eat them straight from the packet. They've got a lovely nutty taste that goes perfectly with the other ingredients. Now, let's talk about walnuts. I'm recommending walnuts over some of those exotic nuts because they're readily available year-round in Australia and they're not ridiculously expensive. Walnuts are another fantastic source of omega-3 fatty acids. They contain ALA just like flax seeds, which helps reduce inflammation in the prostate. But walnuts have an extra trick up their sleeve. They're high in a type of vitamin E called gamma-tocopherol. This specific form of vitamin E has been shown to have anti-inflammatory effects, specifically in prostate tissue. Research from the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center found that men with higher levels of gamma-tocopherol in their blood had a significantly lower risk of developing prostate cancer. Chuck about a quarter cup of chopped walnuts onto your breakfast. They add a beautiful crunch, and they'll keep you feeling full until lunchtime. Right. Let's talk about how to put this all together into one cracker of a breakfast. It's dead simple. Here's what I do every morning, and what I've recommended to countless patients over the years. Start with half a cup of rolled oats. Cook them up with about a cup of water or milk. While they're cooking, grind up a tablespoon of flax seeds. Once the oats are done, let them cool for a minute, then stir in your ground flax seeds. Top it all with half a cup of mixed berries, a couple of tablespoons of pumpkin seeds, and a quarter cup of chopped walnuts. If you like it a bit sweeter, drizzle on a teaspoon of honey. That's it. 5 minutes, and you've got yourself a breakfast that's specifically designed to support your prostate health. Now, if you're not a fan of oats, you can do this with natural Greek yogurt instead. Same toppings, different base. The key is getting these ingredients into your system every morning. Some of you might be thinking, Doc, what about tomatoes? I've heard tomatoes are good for the prostate. You're absolutely right. Tomatoes contain lycopene, which is brilliant for prostate health. But I'm focusing this breakfast on ingredients that don't require cooking and that work well together. If you want to add tomatoes to your breakfast, go for it. Have them on the side with some scrambled eggs. More is more when it comes to prostate-friendly foods. Let me address something else I saw in the comments. Someone mentioned that avocados are good for the prostate, but they're concerned about the environmental impact of importing them. Fair point. While avocados do contain beneficial fats, everything I've recommended today can be sourced locally or has a much smaller environmental footprint. We don't need to be importing fancy superfoods from halfway around the world when we've got brilliant options right here. Now, let's talk about what you should avoid. If you're currently having toast with butter and jam for breakfast, or a big fry-up with bacon and sausages every day, you're not doing your prostate any favors. Processed meats have been linked to increased prostate problems. Refined carbohydrates like white bread cause spikes in blood sugar, which can lead to inflammation. And excessive saturated fat from things like butter and fatty meats can contribute to prostate enlargement. I'm not saying you can never have these things again. I still have a bacon sarnie on weekends. But for your everyday breakfast, especially if you're dealing with prostate issues, the oat-based breakfast I've described is going to serve you much better. Let me share a quick story. About 6 months ago, a patient of mine named Tom came in for a follow-up. He was 72 and had been struggling with an enlarged prostate for years. He was on medication, but he was still getting up 3 or 4 times a night. I suggested he try this breakfast every day for a month and see how he went. When he came back for his next appointment, I barely recognized him. He looked 10 years younger. He told me he was down to getting up once, maybe twice a night. His urinary flow had improved, and he just felt better overall. His wife told me she'd noticed he had more energy during the day too. Now, Tom was still on his medication, and he'd also started walking more, but he reckoned the breakfast change made a real difference. I've seen results like this time and time again. It's not magic. It's just giving your body the nutrients it needs to function properly. Your prostate is an organ like any other, and it responds to how you treat it. Here's another thing I want to mention: hydration. You need to be drinking enough water throughout the day, but here's the key: don't drink a heap of water right before bed. I see blokes all the time who are drinking a liter of water at 9 p.m. and then wondering why they're up all night. Have most of your water earlier in the day. Stop drinking about 2 hours before bed, except maybe a small sip if you're taking medication. Some of you might be wondering about supplements. Doc, can I just take a pill instead of eating all this food? Look, supplements have their place, but they're meant to supplement a good diet, not replace it. The foods I've mentioned contain thousands of different beneficial compounds that work together. A pill might give you 1 or 2 of those compounds, but you miss out on all the others. Plus, your body absorbs nutrients better from whole foods than from pills. That said, if you're really struggling to get enough of these foods, a good quality fish oil supplement for omega-3 seconds and a zinc supplement might be helpful. But check with your doctor first, especially if you're on any medications. Now, I reckon I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds great, Doc, but how long until I see results? That's a fair question. The honest answer is that it varies from person to person. Some blokes notice improvements within a couple of weeks. For others, it might take a month or 2. The key is consistency. You can't eat this breakfast for 3 days, not notice anything, and then give up. Your body needs time to respond to dietary changes. Think about it this way. If you've spent years eating in a way that's contributed to prostate problems, it's going to take more than a few days to turn that around. But I promise you, if you stick with it, you will notice a difference. Better urinary flow, fewer nighttime bathroom trips, less discomfort. These are the changes my patients report most often. I also want to address something important. This breakfast is not a replacement for medical treatment. If you've got an enlarged prostate, if you're having serious symptoms, or if you've been diagnosed with any prostate condition, you need to be working with your doctor. This breakfast is something you do alongside proper medical care, not instead of it. Right, let's wrap this up. I've given you a simple, practical breakfast that's specifically designed to support prostate health. It's based on solid scientific research and on my 35 years of experience working with men dealing with prostate issues. The ingredients are all readily available in Australia. They're not going to break the bank, and they're easy to prepare. Half a cup of rolled oats, 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds, half a cup of mixed berries, 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds, a 1/4 cup of chopped walnuts. That's your base. You can add a bit of honey if you want it sweeter. You can use milk or water for your oats. You can use Greek yogurt instead of oats if you prefer. Make it work for you. The bloke I mentioned at the start of this video, the one who was getting up 6 times a night, I saw him last month. He's been having this breakfast every day for 3 months now. He's down to once, maybe twice a night. He's sleeping better, he's got more energy, and he told me his golf game has even improved because he's not exhausted all the time. Look, I'm not going to tell you this is going to solve all your problems, but it's a simple change that can make a real difference. And the beauty of it is, even if you don't have prostate problems, this breakfast is still incredibly healthy. So if you've got a son or a mate who's younger, this is great preventative nutrition too. Give it a go for a month, see how you feel. And if you're noticing improvements, stick with it. Your prostate will thank you for it. If you found this helpful, I'd love to hear about your experience. Drop a comment below and let me know if you're going to try this breakfast. And if you've got mates who might benefit from this information, share this video with them. Prostate health isn't something us blokes talk about enough, but it bloody well should be. Take care of yourselves, folks. Cheers.